episode of Break the Silence, Build the Future. I'm your host, Fartuma Kuso. This is the second episode of um, special episodes we are doing for I Am Zahra Bullet Foundation 2025 campaign. So these episodes are supporting the campaign. And I'm sharing it both live and recorded. Last week, in the first episode of this special mini series, we began the journey by saying silence is not protection, silence is permission. We explored why silence cost lives and why waiting and action is not an option. Today's episode, which is episode two of this special season of Break the Silence, Build the Future, I want us to go deeper. I want us to hear what it really means to break the silence. And to that, I will revisit story we first shared in season one. It was the episode three of season one, and this is a story I call silent courage because sometimes one voice, one act of courage becomes the spark that helps others stop, spark that helps others step out of their silence too. In this episode, a young mother told us about her journey through violence. For years, she lived with the weight of silence. She believed it was protecting her. She believed that she was protecting her privacy, her relationship's privacy, her child, her partner's privacy, her family's privacy. This was a private issue, and she thought that she had to deal with it privately. And that was the biggest challenge for her. Here is what she said, part of that episode. If you want to hear that episode, it's episode 3 of season 1 of Break the Silence, Build the Future. And here is the episode. Experience in going through violence and coming on the other side. That's not her name. To protect her identity, because women who leave violent situations continue to experience consequence repercussions of their actions, whether that is to do with child custody, financial contributions, or legal issues. So we're going to not share her identity, her location, her name, and we're going to call her Hope, which is her story. Sharing her story hopefully will give hope to another woman who is struggling. Thank you for joining us, Hope.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I am excited to share my story. If I can help just one other young woman not go through the same thing that I did, then I would feel very accomplished.
Thank you. I understand this is really this decision to share your story with me today did not come very easy to you, and it was something that you had to think about. And I am grateful, and I hope the audience that listens to your story will be grateful of both your courage and the risk you are taking, even though we are concealing your identity and your name is still to speak to it is a tough thing to do, because it's almost like reliving and re-experiencing the things that you have went through at a really difficult time of your life, and you're very young, so that even makes it hard. So to start with, I want you to share a little bit about yourself without revealing any identifying details.
So I am in my late 20s. I work in finance. I have, I basically almost was born in the US, grew up here. I've always been a very extroverted person. I was always involved in clubs, extracurricular activities, community events, community activism. Um, I am a mother to one who keeps my hands very busy oftentimes. But honestly, I think in the last couple years, is the main label or the main title or the main thing that I've been identifying the most with is honestly, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I'm a survivor of like narcissistic abuse, and that has left me with complex PTSD.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's definitely a challenging, even though I didn't experience directly through my sharing your story in an anonymous way. Why was that important to you?
So there's several reasons to my anonymity. I currently have a permanent restraining order against my abuser. He lives in the city that I grew up in and has made several attempts to my life during the time of that I was with him. But then also after I left, he's made several death threats. We currently have a legal case ongoing because when I finally did leave my abuser, he told me that if I cooperated with the state prosecutor's office in testifying to my abuse, that he would ensure that basically I went through the longest and most financially draining divorce case. And he has followed through on that threat as our divorce case has been ongoing for the last 4 years.
Yeah, so that's it's not something that's just maybe you're thinking, but it's something that's clearly in your on your mind and clearly being stated to you, and you could see the evidence of it. So that's very clear. So how and please don't share if you can. Would you be able to tell us what were the first signs that this was not really what you thought to be? This relationship was not what you'd imagined, and you were in trouble. What were the early signs that you'd noticed without being specific?
Well, I will say this: hindsight is 2020. I think, given that I got married at a very young age, I wasn't even 20 when I got married. This was the first real relationship I had with a boy, much less a man, that was 7 to 8 years my senior. Um, so there were several things that my abuser would do that I did not understand as abuse. Some examples are putting me down. So making statements such as if I were to win an award at school for highest achievement or getting a really high GPA in my class, he would say, oh, like, he would either downplay that or try to make it seem like, honestly, it was nothing. So the relationship kind of built upon me seeking his approval through my accomplishments and him downplaying those accomplishments, whether it's me educational wise, whether it's financial wise, whether it's landing a really good job, which is ironic because, again, looking back, this is someone who did not have a high school diploma, much less a college degree. So when they're telling me that I'm not that smart or that, oh, that's okay, but you must go to like a dumb school, that's probably why you have a high GPA.
So as you can hear in that episode, and if you want to listen or the entire YouTube or wherever you find on podcast. So that shows that the how that courage, her hearing the podcast that I was creating and speaking to me, and her hope of, because she broke her silence, that she's hoping somebody else would hear her story and would take steps to protect themselves. So that is what I mean when I say voices that break the silence. And in this episode, you could see, and if you wanted to hear the entire episode, it's episode 3 of season 1 of Break the Silence, Build the Future. So that is where that is. It's about 40 minutes long, and so this act of courage for this young woman becomes the spark that others hold on to. Others will not be silent at the same time. And if it she tells us that it's the whole idea of tearing down and her being silent that didn't help her at the time. But the moment she spoke, the moment she said something to someone, a colleague, to legal representative, to lawyers, to family members, to friends, the moment she said something, that's when her healing began. That's like she said hindsight is 2020. She's looking back now and hearing, figuring out and realizing things that she had done, things that was done to her, steps she'd taken, things that she had tolerated that really really was not really something that she should have tolerated. So stories like that is why it's important that we must hear survivors voices, because if not now, then when? If not you, then who? If we don't listen survivors right now, then when will we listen to them? If we don't listen to survivors, um, if we don't listen to survivors, if you are not the one listening to survivors, then who is going to listen to survivors? So that's why it's quite important for us to do that. So 30 years ago, like I spoke in the last episode, the world 189 countries gathered around in Beijing, capital city of China, and they came up with a declaration, 12-point declaration called Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. And one of those 12 points was the world needed to end violence against women. And that the requirement to do that is listening to survivors, lending ear to survivors, protecting their rights, and amplifying their voices. Those are quite important in order for us to eradicate or get rid of violence against women and girls. And if you are thinking about and saying, oh, I need to, it doesn't happen to us, it happens to those people, I want you to stop that, because violence against women and girls is a global phenomenon. It's a global epidemic that affects all kind of women, regardless of ethnicity, religion, background, skills, economic standing, educational level, class standing. No matter what part of the world they live, it impacts every group of communities where there are women and girls. That's something proven by research, by statistics, all that. So that 30 years ago, that declaration that came that said we need to make sure women and girls feel safe in their homes, in the workplaces, on the street, in their communities. That was really important. And how do we do that? We need to listen to survivors. We need to protect women and girls' rights, and we need to amplify their voices. That was 30 years ago, September of 1995. Yet, here we are, 30 years later, 3 decades later, and silence is still silences too many. We are still facing people that are being silenced, that are being told, you are making it up, you are imagining it. This happens to everybody. You bothered him, asked too many questions. You are too open-minded. You are argumentative. All those things are being told to women and girls to say, make yourself smaller, become as small as you possibly can, so you are not bothering anybody else. I was on a platform yesterday when a couple women approached me and they said, you are making this up. Almost, that's not how they put it, but that's what they said. So our I Am Zahra Bullet campaign in 2025 is our way of recommitting, right? It's our way of recommitting to that promise. The promise that was declared 30 years ago in Beijing, where the idea was to make sure women's and girls say violence against them is eradicated. So that's what we're going to do. It's our way of saying survivors' voices will not be pushed aside anymore. When one person speaks, and sometimes it's so easy to feel this is too much. I can't do this all the time. It's so easy to feel that I'm only one person. There's nothing I can do about this. It's so easy to feel that, right? Because the issue can feel so overwhelming. The issue can feel insurmountable. The issue can feel something that we cannot really deal with. The issue can feel something that government should be dealing with. The issue can feel something that larger companies, bigger communities, wealthier people can deal with. I am only this small, simple person. How can I deal with this? There is nothing that I can do, even if I spoke. But I want to challenge that mindset. I want to challenge that idea. And I want to tell you, when one person speaks, when that young woman spoke, her goal, her desire, her dream was to have one other woman hear her and hear her story and use her story as a cautionary tale of what to watch for. That's why she was highlighting things that she looked the other way. Imagine, she said this man didn't even have high school diploma, and she had master of economics, but still he was telling her, you only have these good grades because you go to a stupid school. Just imagine that idea of breaking her down and tearing her down. And she said she got to a point where she worked to get his approval as he worked to tear her down. So they were working against each other. But her speaking, not only is she in the process of rescuing herself from that situation, speaking to it comes with courage. And she's hoping somebody else could hear. So I wanted to tell you, when one person speaks, it lights the way for another. When many voices rise together, that would be, even silence has no power. Okay, we need to get rid of the power silence has over us. Okay, so when one person speaks, you light the way for another. And when we have more voices rising together, silence will have no power over us. Because what I want to tell you is, nothing is the biggest ally for violence against women and girls is silence. Nothing is as devastating, as damaging as it is when other people like you and I remain silent in the face of violence against women and girls. There is nothing is as troublesome as silence. For us, feeling silence is protection. We are protecting people's privacy. It's not only you, right? I was there too. I kept silent for a long time, thinking I was protecting my daughter's privacy. I was protecting her wishes because she wanted me not to say anything. I was doing what she wanted me to do. It was her story to tell, her story to share. I had no business in talking about it or sharing with other people, but I was wrong. And now I am on a mission to break the silence, to not be silent at all. Is speak, even if that means only one person is going to hear me. And this is where you come in. This is where I need your support in getting this campaign going. This is where your part is, right? Because this campaign is not about few voices. It's about many. It's about you and I and them put together. Here are four ways you can be of part of this campaign this week. Share this story. This episode, when it comes out Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock, please share it. Send send Silence Courage episode, or share this clip with someone who needs to hear it, whether that person is in a difficult relationship, or that person is can be an ally, can be your brother, can be your husband, can be your father, can be your sister, can be your colleague. Share with someone that needs to hear this story. So that's the first way for you to support this week. And wear and share a ribbon. Okay, so if you go here in this link, there are ribbons. You will send me an email and I will send you a ribbon for you to wear, to show that you are not going to be silenced and you are committing to ending the silence against uh, violence against women and girls. And you will hear me harping over this silence, not even the violence, because I am a firm believer that the silence is the home where the violence, the harm, the abuse grow, thrive, and continue the pain that they inflict on women and girls. So that is very important for you to realize. So if we're not silent, if we're all speaking, then the violence will have to go away. It doesn't have a way for it to go to beat us in. So what did I say? Four ways to support. Share this story. Send the clip, send the entire episode, send the entire show to somebody that you think should hear it. Okay. And wear a ribbon. I have purple ribbons, and they look like this, and they have the same saying. Okay, you can see it here. Okay. And um if I go here, I will show you, right? So this is the ribbon. You can click on that link, and then you can go ahead and share it. So that's, you can wear that. Join us on October 4th for Walk to End Silence. Together we will walk for those whose voices were stolen. Okay. The fourth one is register for the November 26th I'm Zahra Bule conference. Come and learn, connect, and add your voice to a growing movement. I am going to open now and share my screen to see. Um, So here it is. You can see in your, I'm going to share my screen. Let me go here and share my screen. There you go. So you can see what my screen is. This is where you will get all the information you need. And here is if you want to explore the full campaign. So this says United for Change, the I Am Zaharabula 2025 campaign. There it says Zaharabula Foundation there. And that is to recommit to ending gender-based violence. So this is all you need. So if you want to explore the full campaign, this is where it is. Okay. So this is where you are going to get all the information, all those for Purple Ribbon Awareness, the Walk to End Silence, the I Am Zaharabula conference, and the education and that, right? Um, so if you look at this here, there you go. So the next one is a purple ribbon. This is where you can get the purple ribbon. It's right here, and you can get the purple ribbon right there. So all the links, I put it right there for you. So you can go ahead and gather all you need. And all these are not costing you anything. And the next one is the Walk to End Silence. And this is right here. You can see this one. I'm trying to fundraise and people donate. So I was hoping to fundraise $10,000 for the foundation, and I have $200 saved raised so far, and I'm counting on your support here. And here is the conference. If you want to look at it, this is where the conference will be, and this is where you will register. It's November 26, 2025, right there. You can join us for that one there. And here is, this is where the joy is. This is where you can get courses that are free. All you have to do is put your first name. For example, if I put my first name and then I put my email, you'll put your email. You don't have to pay anything. Um, you just have to put your email and your first name, not last name, not your address. And then here is, if I look at this here, you could see this is where this entire course is, and you're not paying anything. That's all I did. I put in my first name and the email address, and this is the 4 modules here. So you click here, and then this is what you have. You can download a workbook that you can use. The next one is, here is me walking you through the course itself, the entire module. It's me recording, and there you are. And then you have coloring pages that you can download. So that's the module 1, and then you can do module 2 there. It's right there for you. And then module 3 is right there for you, and module 4. And then here is Your Voice Matters. Your healing deserves that. And this is your storytelling journey. And when you finish it, you will just label it here, completed the course, and then you will go to your next course, right? To go to your next course. And and all of them are like that. So you have 4 different courses like that, right? So if you want to volunteer for the foundation, this is where you can join us to volunteer with us, to get involved, volunteer for the foundation. And if you wanted to you know see the foundation website, it's right there. You can directly donate to the foundation right there by clicking there. And this is my own personal website. if you want to see about my books and things like that. So that's what that is here. So that is that. And um, and I'm just, are there any questions, any comments, anything that you would like to ask about, like you would like to know? Let me know. And um, so I told you the four ways you can join this, and it's um, where sharing this episode, sharing the show. That would be really really important. Wearing the ribbon, I can send it to you. It's right here, like I explained, and I showed it to you on the link where it is, and make it visible so you are committed to ending silence. You can join us a walk to end silence on October 4th. Even if you are from my area, if you connect with me and um, you say, oh, I want to walk, I will give you what you need so you can walk in wherever it is in the world that you want to walk in. No matter where you live, you can register for the conference in November 26th. You can come, learn, connect, and add your voices. If you believe survivors' voices matter, I want you to type I hear you in the comments. In the comments, in however you listen to this, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, I want you to drop me I hear you. Drop a heart if you're committed to amplifying one story this week, okay? This week, because change happens when we act together. The change doesn't just happen because we dream it. When we act together, the change happens. So leave me a comment that says, I hear you. Drop a heart to show you're committing to amplifying one voice this week, because change happens when we act together. Episode 1 taught us that silence costs lives. Okay. In episode 2 reminds us that courage, like that young woman that I had you listen the clip, breaks that silence. And coming together in voices create change. This is the power of all of us. This is why we recommit 30 years after Beijing to end gender based violence. If you wanted to join us, stand with us, please visit wespeak.com slash recommitment. Wespeak.com slash recommitment. We speak is WESBAKE. There is E at the end. Wespeak.com slash recommitment to order your ribbon, to download courses, and to join this campaign. Because if it's not now, then when? If it's not you, then who? Thank you for listening to Break the Silence, Build the Future. I'll be back next week with episode 3, where we will shift to the change makers, the people and communities turning their voices into action. Until next time, bye for now.